welcome to Chris Ryan Golf. You've joined me at the Belfry again today, and some of you may well recognise the hole that I'm on today. It's the 10th on the Brabazon, so very, very famous hole. Lots of great moments happened here over the years through Ryder Cups and European Tour events, and we're going to use this hole as a great situation to talk about chipping and talk about the shot selection and where your focus should be. So let's just go through the situation here. I've got probably about 10 to 12 feet of this fringe before I reach the green, but then I've probably got somewhere in the region of about 30 yards to that flag, so it's a very, very long shot to play in terms of a chip. And what we are going to find is that often golfers struggle with actually selecting the right shot, and the reason for this is because they could get the ball close with about 5 or 6 different clubs in the bag. I could use my 59, loft that ball, almost all the way there and hope it stops. I could use a 53, I could use a pitching wedge, a 9, an 8, 7, a 6, may even use a hybrid type club. So when we've got that many options, it's very difficult to actually pick one, commit to it, and actually visualise how that ball's going to roll out. If you were to put a bunker in the way, every single golfer out there would tell you it's going to go into the air, over the bunker, land and stop. So it's much, much easier to visualise the shot when there's an obstacle in the way. When you've got nothing, just green, it becomes a lot more difficult. So that's the first thing. The second thing would be we're going to see most golfers using too much loft. So they're going to dive straight into the bottom end of the bag and they're going to go for something like a lob wedge, a sand wedge, a gap wedge, all that kind of stuff. Now, if I use my most lofted club, which in this case for me is a 59, I can get that ball close, as we said, but there's an area on that green where that ball needs to land in order for it to finish by the hole. That area is probably somewhere in the region of 10 to 15 feet short of the flag. So if you were to give me 10 golf balls and ask me to land my ball in that designated area, how much success am I going to have? Well, I might get 1 or 2, but out of 10, when the ball's carrying nearly 30 yards, it's going to be quite difficult. I've got my 6-iron here on the floor. So if I grab this one, we've obviously got a much lower loft on this club. This one's got in the region of 31 degrees. So I can also get my ball close to the hole with this club. However, the landing area for this is much closer to me because there's going to be more roll. So there is a certain area on the green, as the same with the 59, where this club, this ball, has to land in order for it to finish by the hole. However, this landing zone is much closer to me. So again, if you gave me 10 balls and asked me to land the ball in that designated area, I'm probably going to have a much better success rate because that area is closer to me. And that's really the theory we want to go through. So when you're faced with situations such as this, where you've got plenty of green to work with, don't go straight in for the most loft. Use something with a little less loft. I say, I've got a 6-iron here. You could even go down to 5-iron, something like that, because we want that ball to roll. We don't want to have to land that ball 75, 80% of its distance, and hopefully it's going to pull up short. So we're just going to hit one shot, and then we're going to go through a little bit of the technique and what we want to do to actually execute it. So I'm going to have a go. So I've got my landing area on the green. I'm visualising that, and when I make my practice strokes, I am not looking at the hole. I'm looking at the area which I want that golf ball to land. Now, the area that I've chosen is a little bit out to the right because there's a little bit of right to left break on this, but I'm really focusing on where I want that golf ball to land on the green. The flag is just the end result, okay? So let's see if we can hit that zone and see how close we can get to the flag. Okay, so you can see that ball moving back to the left. It's a little bit short, but that's not too bad from there. But you can just see how low that ball flight was and how much roll it had on it. I'm going to have a lot more success that way than with my 59-degree club, trying to loft it, as I say, 80% of its distance, land it, stop it. I might hit 1 out of 10, but that's going to be about it. So let's just go through what we're going to do in order for us to hit this golf shot. Well, what we want to try and do is get the golf ball pretty much under your buttons on your shirt. So I'm going to make sure that the golf ball is pretty much under my sternum, and I'm also going to feel a little bit of weight on the left leg, maybe 65, 70% of it, and then the handle is going to go a little bit forward, okay? Make sure that in the setup nothing's too extreme. Don't put it extremely forward, don't put the handle extremely forward. Make sure things are quite subtle. A little bit of weight left, a little bit of handle forwards, okay? Now the key thing to this shot over this distance is making sure that the wrists have a little bit of movement in them. We don't want to play this too robotic like this. Make sure that as we move back and through, there's a little bit of action in the wrists, okay? I'm not doing that intentionally, just my grip pressure is allowing the wrists to hinge a little as I change direction. That's going to help you get a better rhythm, it's going to help you get the desired distance we want, okay? So let's make our practice swings feeling loose in the wrists, and let's make sure there's a little bit of movement in them as we make our practice swings. That's going to help us get the desired distance. You'll also notice that as I'm doing that, my chest is moving and my hips and my legs are reacting to that, okay? When they're not dead still, okay? We don't want to keep them too still. We want to have a little bit of movement in the legs and feel like we turn to face the target following the shot, okay? So let's have another go. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer. I know the line is just out to the right. I just need to hit it a little bit firmer than the previous shot. So, get myself set up. Okay, that might be a little bit better for distance. Oh, hit something on the way. I don't know if you saw that jump up, but that's caused it to pull up a little bit short. So, not a great shot there, second shot. We're going to blame that on something that hit halfway. So, initially, when you find yourself in this situation, commit to a shot. Make sure you've picked the right club, make sure you've picked the landing zone, and make sure you focus on that in your routine. Secondly, make sure the technique's good. Make sure you've got the setup, make sure you understand the setup, make sure you have the practice swings to give yourself the right feel, and then move in and execute the shot. I guarantee you, if you use something with less off, like a 6, rather than your lob wedge, you'll get the ball much closer, you'll get up and down more, and you'll lower those scores.